tonight, since things are very different, I thought we would take a different approach. We're going to do like a Bible reading. So I'll give you just a minute to get your Bible and get whatever translation you'd like. I'll be reading from King James. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you, during this time, our extra time for reading, I just finished this book on Leif Heflin on giant slayers. It's really good. This is the man we're trying to get to come next year, maybe to be with us. I really enjoyed that. All right, and we're going to be in Genesis chapter 5 is where we're going to start, and we're just going to read. We're going to do some reading, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's really good to be connecting with you tonight, in your homes tonight. One evening this summer, my family and I, we were at Longhorn in Mobile. We were eating supper there at the steakhouse. And on the wall there was a picture, and it had a boat on it. And up under the picture it said, "Don't leave the boat." And that's going to be our title for tonight, "Don't Leave the Boat." I felt like the Lord was making this statement stand out to me. And in August, I had an opportunity to share with the teachers at school. They came over to the house, and they were doing a team building activity together there at the pool. And I felt like it was for them for that time right then. And I was telling them that it was going to relate to future events in their lives in the upcoming school year. And this week, that same thought was coming back to my mind. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to give that to our family here. I feel like now this is for you. So tonight, I'm going to try to share these thoughts about don't leave the boat. And how does this relate to what Pastor Jamie is telling? He's teaching on listening to the Lord, stopping, and hearing. And let's do some reading about Noah, because how that he had a focused effort in listening to the Lord and how it guided him and his family into their destinies. All right, we'll be reading in Genesis 5, and let's start at 28. And we're just going to do some reading. It's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be fine. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed." And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, and we're going to move on to chapter 6, and let's start at verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, "I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them." But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, "The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and thou shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in the cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With the second, third, lower story shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, will bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And from under heaven and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And thou shalt take unto thee of all food that is eaten. Thou shalt gather it unto thee, it shall be food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God had commanded him. When we started out in chapter 5, we see that Noah has, if you look back, he has a history. His great-great-grandfather, Enoch, he walked with God, and we know that he walked so close that the Lord, took him on. But it doesn't matter if you don't have these people to look back, family members that walk with the Lord. You can be that person. You're going to be that person that's going to start the spiritual heritage in your family. And then as we were reading in chapter 6, it said the wickedness of man was great upon the earth, and the Father wanted to do something about it. And he had a plan, but he needed someone who was listening to perform that plan. And in verse 18 and 19, God said unto Noah, and he began to start telling him about the plan, about the ark. So we see that Noah had to be listening. He had to put a strategic focus on listening to what God was saying so he wouldn't miss anything. And he starts to tell him, he's telling him how bad it's going to be, but he tells him back in here that I will keep thee alive and thy family, and I will establish my covenant with thee and keep thee alive. And this is going to be his rhema word, okay? This is what's going to anchor him through this process of the building and the writing in this ark during this time. He's going to go back to this, and that's what Pastor Jamie's trying to get us to do. During this time of listening to the Lord, we're going to get things that are going to carry us, that are turning us the right way to our destiny. And we've got to have these things that are going to hold us, they're going to anchor us. All right, let's look in chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, their 3 wives and sons, and with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they went in, the male and female of flesh, as God commanded him. And the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole earth were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of the fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, in all whose nostrils was the breath of life. And all that was on dry land died, and every substance that was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowls of heaven, they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So after God initially talked with him and gave him this plan, he started building the ark just after the pattern, and it took 100 years. So after 100 years, the Lord spake and was telling him, okay, I've seen you righteous before me in this generation. And he was telling him that it was time for him and his family to get into this ark. So this was Noah's Kairos moment, God's timing. And during this time that you're seeking the Lord, he's going to tell you, this perfect timing that's going to turn you, toward your destiny. He tells him about the plan for the animals, the male and female, 2 of those, and then 7 of the clean beast, how they're going to, how he's supposed to get those, and those are going to come to him. So Noah was 600 years old when this flood came. He and his family, they all went in, but they waited 7 days before it started raining. They had to sit in there and wait. Through this chapter, it tells of the 40 days, which would be like 6 weeks, progression of the rain. It tells how that the springs underground, they opened up and flowed, and how that the windows in heaven supernaturally poured out, these super amounts of waters. And it started flooding, and the ark started rising. Okay, they started off on their journey, and I was thinking about motion sickness. Oh my, that back and forth and up and down, because I had that terrible. And then as the higher they got, when they got to the mountains, I know their ears were popping when they got, the higher elevations as they were covered. And during this time, I just feel like Noah was going back and pulling on that rhema word that God had told him. He'd give him this plan. So, of course, he had something going on. And he could go back to this anchor because God said, I'm going to save you. I'm going to keep you. All right, so let's look in chapter 8. I know this is different, but it's good. I had, growing up, had lots of Bible teachers. Jamie's taught through the years. We had our pastor, Brother Miller, taught. On Sunday evenings, we would have Bible studies at 5 o'clock. So I've had, great people to help me to study and go through the Bible. Also, my dad, he studied for years and years. He would stay up late at night and study. And you can send me emails. We can correspond, sometime during this time. If you are a new Christian and you have some Bible questions, I'd like to help you out and, show you where things are. That would be good. All right, let's look in chapter 8. All right, we're going to do some more reading. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountains also of the deep and of the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent forth a raven, which went forth to and fro, until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him, to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand, and took her, and pulled her in unto him in the ark. And he stayed yet other 7 days. And again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. So he keeps waiting and waiting and waiting, not jumping, not being in a hurry. And the dove came in to him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abating from off the earth. And he stayed yet other 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark. Okay, he's going through the processes. And looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. And then God spake again. And he's listening. And now he tells him, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth, after their kind, went forth out of the ark. And Noah built an altar unto the Lord, and took of the clean beast, and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. All right, so God remembered Noah, and he caused the wind to start passing over, and the underground springs, they went back in, they closed back up, and those supernatural windows in heaven, they stopped pouring their rain. And the drying process started. And this process would take 150 days. The ark rested on the mountains there at Mount Ararat, and at the end of the 40 days and 40 nights, the rain stopped, and Noah opened the window. But it said he waited 1 more month and 27 days until the Lord told him to move. So that's just something I'd like for us to think about. When we hear the Lord tell us to do something, it gives us confidence and it anchors us. So that's kind of what I'm urging you to wait. Wait until he tells you to move. Noah took the clean beast and offered burnt offerings, and the Father smelled a sweet savor. All right, now we're in chapter 9. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. For the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. And be ye fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. And God spake unto Noah, and notice this, and to his sons that were with him. So they're hearing God now, they're hearing it. And behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you. So that's their children too. And with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth, I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there be any more flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is a token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set a bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. And the sons of Noah went forth of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan. These were the 3 sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. All right, so after his obedience, him and his family received fruitfulness, and multiplication came to them. And back in verse 8, it says that God spake to Noah and his sons. So now he's passing it on. His sons are hearing, what the Lord is saying. And your children are watching you. They're watching you pray and read and pray together and tell them, okay, we're going to pray about this decision in our family, and we need this. And we're praying and we're depending on the Lord to give us this. And they're seeing that through you. And he assures them of his covenant promise to not flood the earth again by giving them the token of the rainbow. Noah was on the ark 150 days, the same food, the same routine. It was a noisy, smelly place, but it was the best place to be compared to everyone else. The point of tonight's teaching is about how Noah had to walk with the Father so close in fellowship to be able to hear each instruction, but more importantly, to be able to trust him. What the Lord was asking him to do was something new. He had never seen this before. It hadn't even ever rained before. I think that the Lord is talking to some of you about getting into the boat and staying in the boat until you hear him speak. Family situations and circumstances make us want to jump ship. I want to strongly encourage you to stay aboard and wait it out. Stay in certain job positions, stay in certain relationships, stay with certain dreams, ministries, and goals. During this process of learning to set aside deliberate, focused time with the Lord, it will become easier and easier. It will become part of your lifestyle, your daily routine. The Lord is depending on you to hear his voice, to get words, knowledge, and answers to his children who desperately need them. And I thought I would just end by praying over us. So we'll have a time of prayer. Thank you, Lord, for being with us here tonight and feeling your mighty presence. And thank you for helping us this week and giving us peace. I pray for peace over all of our body members tonight in the name of Jesus. I pray a hunger for you, God, a hunger for your word, a hunger to hear your voice. Just let us spend this time with you, Lord. Don't let us just do unnecessary projects and just things that we want to do. Let us spend this time with you, Lord. And I just bless the people in the name of the Lord. Amen.